On July 20th, 1969, the world watched history unfold. Millions gathered around their televisions as astronaut Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon and spoke the now famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." It was one of humanity's greatest achievements, but more than 50 years later, millions of people still ask the same question: did we really land on the moon? Or was it all an elaborate hoax? Today, we're separating fact from fiction by looking at the evidence, the conspiracy theories, and why this debate refuses to disappear. Let's find out. To understand the moon landing, we first need to understand the Cold War. During the 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in an intense space race. The Soviets scored several early victories. They launched the first artificial satellite. They sent the first human into space. The United States was falling behind. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy challenged America to land a man on the moon before the end of the decade. It was an enormous goal. Hundreds of thousands of engineers, scientists, and technicians worked together to make it happen. After years of testing and multiple Apollo missions, Apollo 11 launched on July 16, 1969. 4 days later, history was made. Despite the achievement, conspiracy theories began appearing only a few years later. One common claim is that the American flag appears to wave in the videos, but the flag had a horizontal support rod to keep it extended. When astronauts planted it into the ground, it continued vibrating because there is no atmosphere on the moon to slow the movement. Another claim is that there are no stars visible in photographs. In reality, the moon's surface is brightly lit by the sun. The cameras were set with fast shutter speeds and low exposure to capture the astronauts and landscape, making the much dimmer stars invisible. Some also point out that shadows appear to fall in different directions. Photography experts explain this is caused by uneven terrain, wide-angle camera lenses, and reflected sunlight from the moon's surface. These effects can make shadows look unusual without requiring multiple light sources. Now let's look at the evidence. Apollo astronauts left scientific instruments on the moon. One of them was a laser reflector. Scientists around the world still use it today by bouncing lasers off the reflector to precisely measure the distance between Earth and the moon. Hundreds of kilograms of moon rocks were brought back to Earth. These rocks have been studied by researchers in many countries, including nations that were political rivals of the United States. Later space missions also photographed the Apollo landing sites from orbit. The descent stages of the lunar modules, astronaut tracks, and scientific equipment are still visible. Perhaps most importantly, the Soviet Union, America's biggest competitor in the space race, never produced evidence that the landing was faked. Had they discovered a hoax, they would have had every reason to expose it. Instead, they acknowledged the success of Apollo 11. If the evidence is so strong, why do conspiracy theories continue? Part of the answer is simple. Extraordinary events often inspire extraordinary claims. The moon landing was almost unbelievable. For many people, it seemed too incredible to be true. Movies, television specials, and the internet have also helped spread misinformation over the years. Once a conspiracy theory becomes popular, it can be difficult to change people's minds, even when evidence is available. This doesn't mean people shouldn't ask questions. Questioning history and examining evidence are important parts of science, but conclusions should be based on verifiable facts, not assumptions. So, did we really land on the moon? Based on decades of scientific evidence, historical records, physical samples, independent verification, and continued research, historians and scientists overwhelmingly agree that yes, we did. Apollo 11 wasn't just an American achievement, it was a human achievement. It showed what people can accomplish through science, engineering, and determination. And more than half a century later, those footprints are still waiting on the moon. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what space mystery should we explore next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.